basic warm-ups. The way I like to do warm-ups is in a way that I can easily remember them in the future. So what I do is usually start from the top and work my way down. So the first one I like to do is arms up, point your fingers up, and circle. And every time you circle, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Don't worry about going fast on this. This isn't exercise or stretch or a warm-up routine about being fast. This is just about getting your muscles warmed up and going. Now this time we're going to go the other way, but as we go the other way, the circle is going to get smaller and smaller. Remember, we're not moving with our wrists or our elbows, we're circling with our shoulders. Okay, good. Now the next one, take your hands, put your fingers here, touching your shoulders. Big circles. We're going to make big circles with our elbows. Again, not concerned with speed. Concerned about just good, fluid motions. Other way. Try your best in these warm-ups not to make any herky-jerky, quick motions like that. If your muscles are not warmed up, that could be bad. Okay, good. Stop. Now, tilt your head to the side. A lot of people will say you don't need to warm up because you're not able to warm up before a real life self-defense situation. I disagree with them. Well, I'm pretty sure that you're not usually able to warm up before a real life self-defense street situation. Now tilt your head back. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't warm up when you could. Head down. So warm up as much as you could, and to say what they say, to me, sounds like them saying, well, at some point in your life, you're going to be in a swimming pool where a little kid's going to pee in the swimming pool, so you should always just be in a pool that a little kid swims in or pees in the swimming pool. I think that's bad logic. So head up, look over your left shoulder. So anytime if you unfortunately ever do find yourself in a real life on the street self-defense situation, tilt your head the other way. Yes, that is true. You will probably not be able to warm up, and your performance will probably suffer for it, and later you may even get some injuries because of it. I know I have. Head straight, but hopefully we'll never be in that situation, but we can be in a regular practice workout routine, and so that will occur much more often, so you should warm up. You should stretch out. So, now put your feet together, hands on your hips. Now we're going to circle with our hips. Try not to circle with your head. Big circles with your hips. It's called the hula stretch. I think it's obvious why. Other way. I find this a very helpful stretch, especially if for us older people, if you are driving a lot, you're in the car a lot, and my lower back starts to ache after a while, and I think this helps with that. I am not a doctor though, so please consult your physician. So now we're going to move down further. Stand on one foot, and the other foot's going to come up on the toes. From here, circle. Circle the other way. Good. Switch. Circle. Circle the other way. Good. Stop. Now we went from head to toe, so now we're going to kind of go back up just a little bit. So hands here, circle the wrist. Circle the other way. I've seen some instructors and some schools do it where they go back and forward and back. That's fine too, whatever works best for you. Just be really careful if you've not warmed up your wrists, stretched those out yet. If you do it very quickly in a jerking sort of motion, it might actually hurt your wrist a little bit, so go slow. Okay, good. Now, usually what I do from there is I usually go down to the ground. Hopefully you'll be indoors or in a nice spot, not outside like this, but I'm going to make the sacrifice so you learn. So we're going to be on the ground. Put your feet out. This is for the inside of the legs. You really do, if you can, want this to be stretched out, warmed up if possible. It helps movement a lot. The times that I have injured myself in sort of self-defense, real life self-defense situations where I didn't have time to warm up was always in this area here on the inside of my leg. All right, so hands up over your head. Gonna go side to side, touch both hands to one foot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now, stay right there. In this stretch, if you bring your legs back in or bend your knees between the sets, it's almost like you have to restart, like you've lost some of your progress. So now, take one leg, stretch it back a little bit further. You can do both legs, but to me, I think it's easier just to do one leg. So hands up. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now, take the other leg. We're doing 3 sets of this. Stretch it out just a little bit further. Hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Excellent. Now, from there, what we're going to do is take our hands, put them in front, right here. Now, if that starts to give you a little bit of a stretch, you start to feel a little bit uncomfortable at that point, that's where you need to stop. But if you can, kind of walk your hands out just a little bit further so that you lean forward a little bit further. If you still feel comfortable, go a little bit further. If you don't, stop right there. If you feel okay, go a little bit further. And remember, there's different types of pain, really. There's, well, I'm slightly uncomfortable pain. And then there's, I just heard something go snap, crackle, or pop. That second one, that's when you need to stop or take a step back. A little bit further. If you can. If you can't, that's okay. Hold where you're at. Or even retract a little bit. If you can, keep on going till you can get all the way down, forehead to the ground. Then when you're done, very slowly, come back up. Don't go fast. Now for this next one, always been a bit of a challenge for me, even when I was a kid. Pull your feet in together. Grab your feet with both hands. Stay there as you breathe in through your nose. Try to relax your legs. Do not make this like bobbing up and down motion. That actually is pretty bad for you. So just kind of relax. Stay there as you breathe in. Breathe out. Pull your forehead down. Your goal is to get your nose to your toes, if you can. But again, you get to a point where it's too uncomfortable. You hear something go snap, crackle, or pop, you should stop. Stay there as you breathe in. Breathe out. Okay. Usually you want to do that, hold that for about 10 seconds. Further if you need to, or for a longer period if you need to. Or you can do a little bit shorter time and build up to a bigger time if you like. So that's the basic warm-ups. At the end, you could even add squats and push-ups, which is what we do a lot of times in our in-person classes. Okay, so next, let's jump into chicken. Traditionally in the Singhi animals, some schools do versions. Like out of their 12 animals, they might have chicken, and they might have fighting chicken or golden chicken, or they might have fighting chicken and golden chicken. We just have one. I'm not a stickler to sticking with history, especially Chinese history, because a lot of it is made up. So I freely adapt. So we have one. So anyway, it's a real fun one. So you start you're here. So bow. This is kind of a long one though. A little spot where it's acrobatic. I don't think I can do it in this small apartment. So we may have to kind of skip it and I'll film it later. So now, this arm pulls in. You can think of it like it's grabbing and pulling in, like you're grabbing someone's wrist, pulling it in. And as you do that, your left foot steps up, and then your back foot steps up to join it real quick. Okay? As that happens, your right arm goes out with a finger strike. Finger strike to the eyes. If you're doing this at home, you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, please do not finger strike someone else. That's my legal warning. Don't ever finger strike someone in that. So here. So this grab pulls in, left foot steps up, back foot steps up and meets it, right hand goes out. And you are kind of squatting down a little bit. This is the chicken stance. Now, from here, right hand grabs again, and you're going to pull that in as your left foot steps out now. But now you're not pulling your feet together in chicken stance anymore on this one. You're just keeping your feet kind of wide. All right? And I'll pull this camera down a little bit so you can see that better. So here, okay? And then you vertical punch. And that is to either the jaw or maybe the ribs, depending on where you want to aim. So let's say for now jaw. Okay? Now we do the same thing again. Grab, pull in, we do our chicken step again, finger strike, and this time fingers are together. Will be somewhere in that target area. One more time with chicken step. Grab, pull it in, and then step left, vertical punch. Could be ribs, could be jaw. Okay, does that make sense? The way I think of it is, if I'm just going through targets, I think of it as eyes, jaw, throat, ribs. Alright, let's do that again. Got our bow, got our salute. Here, grab, pull it in. There. There. Now I'm going to step back a little bit. 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, does that make sense? This one has some fun moves in it, I think. Alright, let's do it again. So we do a bow, there's salute. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody got that? Alright, you guys ready to go on? I'll take silence as a yes on that. Okay, so the next one. The next move. How best to explain it is almost, it's like a bullfighting move, almost. Imagine that someone is punching at you, stabbing at you, something like that, and using both hands to grab their arm. You see this a lot in our style, to be honest, our version of Singhi and what we've adapted to it. So after we do the last punch, come around, grab both arms. Now, you can do that by stepping back, or you can do that as kind of a jump forward. Both seem chicken-y to me, so both are good. Okay. Alright, so let's do it from the beginning. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to do a spread. This is here. Your left foot comes out dragon kick. This kind of like you're pulling the arm in and palm striking with your left here. All right. Then it comes out. There.
Is that the knee-friendly version?
Yes, it is, but we're going to do the not friendly version in just a second.
Okay. Because it was the same.
Yeah, we're not. Let me do it without explaining it, and I'll show you the not friendly version if I still can. So, do the 4 of the strikes, goes here, there, there. Alright, so let's break that down. 4 strikes. Oh, I forgot a thing. Let me step back. I got my section mixed up. Come here. This is like a move at a bog while you're planting the flower. Here. So this hand grabs, pushes back. This hand blocks. My knees are bent. See that? So when you do that, 4, grab, kick, here, then up. This is a chicken beak. Also, real similar to like how they're doing a crane stop. You come up in a horse stance. Right hand's hitting here, left hand's hitting up. There. Okay. Those are interested, I think I have these in paper notes also. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm missing something. 5. Here. No, that's not right. Sorry. So here. There. Then we come over again. Does that make sense? All right then. Let's boogie on. Yes. Yes, if you're doing full set, you would do the same sequence in reverse, Kyle. That is a good question. Sometimes 2 times, sometimes not. Here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, that's an 8 count up to that point. I'm looking for space here. 9 will be that spinning kick. Can't really do it here though. Then you come up, strike to the eyes. That's a lot. Let's take it slow. Bow salute. From here. 1, 2, finger strike, punch, grab, block, down. Do that chicken explosion. Double grab, step grab, come around, kick, kick, keep. When you land though, keep your spin going. Come up here, strike, and down. Do dragon slam, that's the end. Now you can start on the other side. That's a lot. That's a hard one, I know. The way we'll do this is I'll put this class up pretty soon, and then subscribers, I will record this separately and in a bigger area where we're not cramped, and you can go by that. do one more time. Any questions on that? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Kick. You older people, and by older I mean you've been with me for a long time, you would recognize that as a really bad number 30 kick. Come up here, boom, down, dragon slam, and stop. Okay, how's that feel?
So did that kick not falling down?
Well, good, Chris. Good. Personal goals. That's always good. All right, so let's do one of my favorites. I don't teach this one much anymore. Tell you what, though, we have one student, a black belt student. I'm not going to mention his name on here, but several of you know him over from our Beta class, and he was phenomenal at this. He started doing really good at the monkey form, and would always use it blocking and sparring and stuff, and was really good with it. So, I have seen several versions of Singy Monkey. I read an article, one guy, he just only does Singy Monkey. He just goes around and learns all the different versions. So he's got like 20-something versions of Singy Monkey, and they're all a little bit different, but they all sort of share the same spirit, the same idea of movement. So it's going to be kind of weird to do in here, but we'll do our best. So we're going to start here. So we do a bow and salute. Come around here, dragon stance. Now, most Singy animal forms, when you have your dragon stance, they go forward. This one will not. You collapse in. So that collapsing is something they do a lot in Singy Monkey. That's like if someone punches your stomach, you pull it back. You might be grabbing the hand, but also you're kind of pulling in your body so that the strike doesn't hurt as much. Okay? Here. And you turn, water strike. Now from here, your right foot steps out. This pulls in, slap. Keep your thumb tucked in, hands go down. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, without a step. Then you're going to come in like a monkey block. So if I'm doing it from this angle, here. Then we do the nasty monkey thing. By nasty I mean mean. We're going to step out, stomp, stomp, slap, slap. So it'll look like that. We'll do it again. 2, and then again. 3. How's that feel? And it gets even meaner. Monkey's mean. Bow. Salute. Come here. I need to go over here actually. Collapse, bring it in. Strike. Okay. Now, 1, 2, 3. And you can block from there. Or 4. One block. And 1, 2. This is the block I was talking about that actually works really good. It's basically a rolling brush, for those of you who know that. 3. Now from there, I'm going to swivel. My left foot's going to go all the way around a half circle. Come here, block, strike. Step back, block, strike. Block, strike. Block, strike. Salute and bow. One sequence. I know it's the opposite of what I told you a while ago, Kyle, but monkeys are crazy. You can't trust them. So, one sequence. So bow. From the beginning, salute. Here, collapse. Come around, there. Step 1. Step up. 2. 3. You can go 4, or you can just go straight into it. Block. So 1, 2, 3, 4, step around. 1, block. 2. Think that someone's punching or grabbing or whatever. You're blocking and then striking with the same motion. There's a lot of sword techniques that are a lot like that, stick techniques. So 2, 3, 4. Salute and bow. All right. Any questions on that one? Check my camera. Somehow we still got battery life on the camera. Alright, so do you guys want to stick on monkey and chicken, or do you move on to another one?
I like monkey.
Alright, let's do monkey one more time then. So bow, salute, come around, pull it in, step. 1, well there. Block 1. Now, move up. So 1, 2. Notice my foot is stepping back from here. That actually breaks a lot of Singhi rules. But again, monkeys are crazy, so I guess it's okay. 3, 4, block. Or you could just go 3 and block. Step 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to go 3 because of my space. Here, block, strike the eyes. Block, strike the eyes. Block, strike a pose. Block, strike the eyes. Salute and bow. There's another version of monkey that we do, but I call it squirrel. But really it's a version of monkey in my mind. But I'm not going to do it tonight because it takes a lot of room and it's very acrobatic and I'm old, so we're going to skip it tonight. Alright, you guys practice those for just a minute. I'm going to keep the meeting going. I'm going to change batteries on the camera. Although having said that, if anybody did want to test for a belt, they could use this for testing. If I remember, I think Heather used it on her black belt test. And I'm totally fine with that, even though it's not really in what I consider the standard curriculum for our school. But I feel like we need to be flexible. Alright, so, a little background tiger. Tiger style and tiger in Singhi are different. Any of the animals in Singhi, you're still doing Singhi. Alright? So you're still going to be working straight line. You're still going to follow the rules of Singhi. But the animals, like Kyle said or asked about, they each have a different flavor. So Tiger 12 Animals of Singhi is a little bit like Tiger Style. Tiger Style is very much, I'll take a hit to give 3 hits back. So when I was young, I did a lot of Tiger Style. But as I got older, I wasn't tough enough to do it anymore. I didn't feel like wasn't quick enough. But it was very much that kind of flavor. You can see that a little bit in Singhi Tiger, but not really. It's still working on single or center line. It's still working on, collapsing and grabbing. Still straight line stuff. Tiger Style will go a lot of angles, and we'll even go circular movements a little bit. It's a little bit different. Sorry I rambled, but I love talking about Tiger Style. Alright, I'm going to face forward on this one. So here's one version. Myself personally, I do not feel this version has combat applications. I feel this is a breathing exercise version. That's how I practice it. So, you're going to start here. You're going to step out to the left at an angle. So our stepping on this is going to be like fire or earth. It's going to be zigzag. And as you do that, you're going to block here. Okay? Then your hands are going to make claws, and you're going to do a single step forward, almost like wolf stepping, but in reverse. And claw down. Okay? Now, the fun thing is on that, you're going to breathe out, and if you want to really get into the breathing exercise of it, you're going to like growl. Okay? So here, step up, block, Okay. Now, right foot steps up, goes the other angle, so northeast, block, down. Now, I can see a combat application with this. I cannot see it with, that. I could see it with blocking and then wrapping. So if you want to be liberal with the translation of that, you could say that's what you're doing. Blocking and then wrapping or blocking down. I don't see Kung Fu movie style double clawing down working that well to me, but you may be able to make it work great. So here, step up, block. Other side, block up. So let's do it from the angle. Here, step. All right, any questions on that one so far? Okay.
Do you step forward with the straight down? Like a half step?
Yeah, you do. You do. It's a good question, and you do. So, to answer his question so everybody can see it. So when I go here and block, as I step forward, I'm clawing down. Or I step forward as I claw down. It's not a big step. It's like he said, it's like a half step. A scoot, a scuttle. Alright, so here, down. Here, down. Alright, how's that feel to everybody? I personally would do that, or I do that as a breathing exercise when I practice it. And that's how I think of it. Alright, looks like we got a question from our commenters here. This one comes from Kyle. Should you tense with a strike down? Yes, Kyle. Yes, Kyle, you should. That's why I think it's a breathing exercise, because in a real self-defense situation, you don't want to ever tense, You want to keep loose so you can go faster. On this here, and you are tensing. Chest, back, lats, arms, that area. That's a good question, at home viewer. Okay, now, the next one, similar, pretty much all these have a real similar pattern. This one, though, you're going to go in a circle here. Okay? So if I'm going this way, there. Then I'm going to step forward almost like in a chicken step and kind of crouch down a little bit. I'm going to push down. So, if you've ever done Tai Chi, you'll notice that is the hip push. So, from here, right, let's do that again. So, bow. So, here. Up. Like that. Now, if you're interested in how many times of the pattern you should do this, on top both of those patterns, you'll do it 4 up, turn, 4 down, bow, and salute. Because Tiger is very traditional like that. Alright, so let's review those. So we got our bow, salute, here. So the first one. So that's the first version. If you wanted to make a form where you combine the different versions of Tiger, that'd be totally cool. That'd be totally cool. That bow, salute. Second version. Zigzag again, circle. Then hip push. Circle. Hip push.
You bring your feet together, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they do. I know a lot of martial arts people will tell you don't ever do that, and I totally understand where they're coming from. But in my opinion, I think there's some times where you just can't not do it. It's just, you will do it at some point. I think those people just don't realize they do it. All right, how's that? Okay, so let's talk about Chin Na. So the first exercise we'll be doing, I've seen several names for it. I always call it reach for the sky. So we can put our feet out about shoulder width apart, interlock your hands, put them up over your head. So you're going to breathe in to get started. Then you're going to breathe out, stretch up, come up on your toes, stretch as high as you can as you're breathing out. And breathe in and relax. Breathe out, push up. Breathe in, relax. Breathe out, push up. Breathe in, relax. Breathe out. Push up. Breathe in, relax. That traditionally was the first of the 8 pieces of brocade as I was taught. The second of the 8 pieces of brocade as I was taught is going to be pretty similar, except what we're going to do is one arm is going to be up here. Other arm is down. You're going to push the heavens and push the earth. So you breathe in, just get started. Breathe out, push down and push up. Come up on your toes at the same time. Breathe in. Now from here we can switch, hold the ball, then go out and breathe out. Breathe in, switch, hold the ball, breathe out. Breathe in, switch, hold the ball, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Do that as many times as you need. You don't have to switch between each direction of the set. You can instead just breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, and breathe in. And then you can switch, do a couple more on that side. The third in the 8 pieces of brocade as I was taught them. What we're going to do is start with our hands on our lower back, almost like the kidney area. You're going to take your left foot kind of pointed out to the angle. You're going to take your right foot, step it behind. Then you're going to breathe in and breathe out. Every time you breathe out, you're going to twist, almost like you're trying to pop your back, but don't really focus on that. So breathe out. Remember breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. In, out. And you switch. Right foot goes out, pointing at the angle. Left foot pointing at that angle. Both hands on the lower back. So breathe in. And when we turn, we're even going to look over the shoulder for extra effect. Breathe out. The next of the 8 pieces of brocade, as I was taught them, has the name of Cure 10,000 Diseases. In the Chinese, from my understanding, 10,000 doesn't mean the number 10,000 necessarily. It could also mean infinite, so cure infinite diseases. So the way I always teach it is we put our hands together, right hand is going to sort of switch over, grab your left wrist, and we'll look over your left side, and I'm going to pull down on my left shoulder with my right hand, just pulling motion. But as I do that, I'm going to turn my body, look over my left shoulder, and breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now I'm going to switch. Go the other side. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One last time. Breathe out. Now, I'm just doing those a few times for training purposes. Do those as many or as less as you like. The next in the 8 pieces of brocade, as I teach it and as I was trained and as I understand it, we're going to step out. Think of this almost like a horse stance. Hands on your hips. Going to breathe in. Slowly go down and out. And straighten out that back leg as you do it. Breathe in and breathe out. Now we can add our arms into it. Breathe in and stretch. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And repeat. The next in the 8 pieces of brocade, the archer's position or archer's pose. You can do this a couple different ways. I've seen it done a variety. So, got a pretty self-explanatory name. Pretend like you have a bow and arrow. So we're going to breathe in, breathe out, pull your bow back. Breathe in and switch. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now we're doing this in a horse stance right now, but as we do it, we can turn it into a bow stance even. And even the opposite direction. Or back to the horse. When you do these, always find what is best for you, what's most comfortable for you, and what gives you the best results. Now, in the next one, I always called it stomping dragon. For the reason there's a lot of dragon names in my school. But I think the traditional Chinese is something like stomping and punching with intent in the distance. A very complicated name like that. So, we're going to get in our horse stance, or something similar, whatever you can do. Arms up. We're going to do a circular motion. I always think of it as a block, but it doesn't have to be. So we're going to breathe in, breathe out. With a punch, you could do it with a push if you like. Breathe in, breathe out. 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 That is not a combat application, so do not get caught up in proper form of combat like that unless you're specifically trying to maintain a certain type of training. Now, the final technique in the way I teach 8 pieces brocade is not actually from the 8 pieces brocade. Instead, what I teach is actually from the live dead animals. And that's a whole nother can of worms to explain that. But just the simple Qigong that I really like from it. I think it does really well, so I always incorporated it into the 8 pieces of it. Okay. So this is dead bear. Hands here. So we're going to breathe in. Now, when you bring your left leg up, think of it like you're one of those old G.I. Joe action figures that your top can turn separate from your lower half. So left leg comes out, steps, arms come up and down. And relax the back, let your arms hang. Right leg comes up, around, down, again, up, turn, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. That is dead bear.